Alright, this tutorial is to show you how to use OpenLP in order to build a service. And so this will let you add Bibles and songs and other elements to the service. So we'll be using two software tools. One is OpenLP, which is available for Mac or Windows. Secondly, we're going to be using a web browser. In this case, I'm going to use Safari, but you can use Chrome. Okay, the first website we're going to use is worshiptrack.com. Alright, and the second one we're going to use is hymnary.org. Okay, we'll log into Worship Track, and go to Services, and we're going to go to the service we're going to build, which is September 1st. So this gives us an outline of the service and the elements in the service. And so we're going to try to almost entirely mimic this within OpenLP. So the reason that we have hymnary.org is that in case we have to figure out what page a hymn is on, we need to be able to look it up, but in this case I've already put them all in Worship Track. Alright, let's launch OpenLP. OpenLP is cross-platform, free open source software, so it works on Mac or Windows. Okay, over here on the left are the different assets you can drag into the service. Songs, you can see there are several already. Bibles, you can import different versions. Currently we are using the ESV. It is my preferred version, but honestly I would prefer to use the New King James because that is our pastor's preferred version. However, the Bibles that you import are in an XML format, and the XML for the New King James that I have found looks terrible. It has like all kinds of cruft and things. Presentations, that's where you would add PowerPoint presentations. Images, just what it sounds like. Media, that's where you drag things like videos and things. And custom slides, that's where we have all of these things that kind of help us get the service in order. So we don't actually need everything this large, at least when we're not presenting, we're just building. And usually what I do is I will import or open a previous service and use that as my template. But first, over here on the right, on the bottom, right on the top, that's where you'll build your service. The theme here, that's the default theme that you're picking for the service. And here's our themes down here. So we make a main theme, and I just name it according to what the background is and what the font is. And this is just a generic sans serif font. I also make a second one for the scripture, in which I do the scripture in italics, and I make a third one where it's formatted a little bit differently that's better to read for announcements. So we've got 3 for sunset and 3 for parchment. So we're going to import some themes I've already made. Okay, so we're going to import these Parchment Georgia ones. So we're just waiting for them to show up here. Alright, so we've got 3 different themes we can pick from. We can also make our own themes, but for the sake of brevity, right now we're just going to use an existing one and open an existing service. We're going to open our last service, which was from August 25th. Okay, so here are the elements over here, and the elements can contain, I guess, sub-elements, or maybe you would call those slides. And so the thing is, you might intuitively think, oh, you double-click these to edit them. But when you double-click them, it puts them live. So, and you can just hit escape to get out of that. If you need to edit it, you would just say go to edit item. And then you can double-click it. So here, I've put the returns on every line because the typographic controls in here aren't really the best. They're functional. But we can edit this too. Hey, here's our announcements, etc. We know we won't have to... And so some of the weirdness is sometimes it puts in kind of these dummy items. Like sometimes it doesn't preserve the contents of the custom slides. And so that is honestly an aggravation. So we're just going to leave that blank since we know we'll have announcements, we just don't know what they are yet. And you can see we essentially want to make it match this. So we're going to delete this scripture and this scripture. Now right now we just have hymn 1, hymn 2, hymn 3, etc. One of the texts asked me if we could make one that says hymn offertory. So, and I agree, that would be easier for them to be able to see. So we're going to do new custom slide. Offertory, and then add, and then and we're not going to specify a theme because we just want it to use the default theme. Okay, and so we'll delete hymn 3 title number, and we'll delete all the songs. Alright, so we have our welcome, our announcements, hymn 1, 2, 4, and 5. And so instead of hymn 3, well, actually I guess what would be smarter and easier for the text would be to get rid of 5 and then put 3 in. Hymn 3 title number. There we go. And then you can just drag these to reorder them. It's not always the best, but it does work. Alright, so let's collapse these and see how it looks. Sermon header goes at the bottom. Amazing Grace, we'll delete that. Okay. So, before we get very far, you always want to save early, save often, but we want to save this as a new service. 2019-09-01. And we'll save it here in the services directory within Music Ministry. And that ensures that when we save it there, it'll be available for the computer at church, and you can see it saving here. Okay, so announcements, we don't know what those will be, but we know what the scripture reading will be. 2 Timothy 3:14 through 17. Click on Bibles. Okay, and if you just drag one over, it'll drag them all over for us. And you can see the individual slides there. Now, whenever you're actually presenting the slides, you use the right arrow to go to elements, and you use the down arrow to travel within elements. I don't like the fact that it combined 16 and 17. Versus per slide. Well, that takes care of it. So we'll delete this, just drag it over again. There we go. Alright, we've already made a change. We're going to save it. So, our hymns are How Firm a Foundation. Let's go to our songs. Okay, you notice it's not there. So what we're going to do is add it. We're going to go to File, Import, CCLI Song Select. If you don't have a CCLI account, come see me and I will help you get one set up. CCLI is like the Christian copyright license holders, and so anytime that you're going to project lyrics, you have to get a license from them, and you have to give them a report so that the musicians and songwriters can get paid. All right. So let's see who actually wrote this so we can make sure we have the right one. Alright, not helpful. So let's go over here to songs. This is kind of the sad thing, is that both of these software products clink into CCLI, but both of them don't talk to each other. Unknown. Okay, well let's go for it. So we're going to say stop here. I guess it doesn't matter what we say because it's not responding. And that's why you save early, save often. We're going to force quit OpenLP. OpenLP is a little buggy. It's not real buggy, but it does have some issues once in a while. Okay, we're going to reopen our previous service. There we go. We'll try it again. Import CCLI song select. Log in. Yay! The irony is this seems to run more stably on my 9-year-old laptop than it does on my 1-year-old cutting-edge desktop. Okay, we're going to tell them to stop. Okay. Okay, in the event you run into something like that, or you have to build a service and you don't have time to get a CCLI account, as long as the hymn is in public domain, it's not much of a problem. Open service. Open our service. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add a new song. This is where hymnary comes in handy. Hymnary.org is an online database of hymns and hymnals, and so it'll let you know what hymnals a hymn appears in. So what we're using is called the celebration hymnal. It's important to have the. So you don't want to just grab the representative text. You want to say, it'll show you how many hymnals it's in. All representative, compare text. Here, I'm going to log in. So it's smart for you to just go ahead and make a login for hymnary.org. It's entirely free. And so then you can actually star which hymnals you have so that you can find the one that matches your hymnal. In our case, it's the celebration hymnal. It is with a the. There we are. Hymn number 408. Let's see if that's what we put in our service. If at all possible, I try to make sure I have the page numbers so that the accompanists can easily find what they need. So just grab all this text, Command C, or on Windows, Control C. So we're going to say add and paste. So here's what we're going to do. Just behind each of these, see it already says verse type, and usually there's like an insert button. So up that to verse 2. Yeah, that's not right. Wow. OpenLP is being all kinds of special this evening. Let's try it again. Edit all. Hey, there we go. So, okay, insert, and see it'll auto up them. Cool. And it looks like these should be long enough or short enough to fit on the screen, but we're going to find out. Anytime I have to add the song myself, I just add parentheses celebration so that if it pops up among duplicates within the song list, you know which one you really want. Alright. And it's good to just go ahead and get this information in there if you can. Alright. Attributed to George Keith, and just K. You know what? We're just going to say unknown. It's not going to kill anybody. Besides, it's not like they have to pay royalties to unknown. So, words, unknown, add to song. It'll ask if you want to add the author, and we do. Okay. Topics. And that'll just help you if you ever have to build a thematic-based service later. And we'll save it. It'll usually highlight it, I'm sorry, and just drag it over there. Hymn 1 right in there. Oops, sorry. Okay. Next, it is well with my soul. Same thing. We're not even going to mess with song select. We'll just go ahead straight to hymnary, and then we can make sure we have the celebration version. This one will take a little bit of extra editing. New song, edit all, paste, insert, okay. So I think a refrain and a chorus are actually different, but for our purposes, they're the same. We're going to delete where it says refrain. We're going to change verse type to chorus and insert. We'll delete this refrain from the end of these. Okay. Now, what we have to do is set the verse order the way these should appear on the screen. V1, C1, V2, C1, V3, C1, V4, C1. And so that ensures that whenever it displays, oh, whoops. Horatio Spafford did the words, yes. Philip Bliss did the music. We'll say lament, trust in God. Whoops, no. There we go. And so that way, if we're trying to build a service later, the more keywords you have, the easier it will be. Celebration hymnal. Alright, save. Again, it has highlighted it for us. Drag it up under hymn 2. So, if you want to see what we have so far, save your work. Okay, so it looks like it's using the sunset theme, which that's fine. We don't care at this moment. Alright, right arrow to proceed. No announcements. Right arrow. So now that we're in a multi-slide element, now we'll go down to go to the next verse. Okay, then we go right to go to the next element, which is our hymn name and number. So, you can see some problems. We have what are called widows, which is where, or orphan, where a word has been bumped to the next line. That's a problem. Whoops, also this typo, how firm a foundation, that's another problem. Alright, so we got a couple of things to fix. First, let's see if we can edit this foundation. Excellent. So that's fixed. Go to edit all. What we're going to do is break this on logical breaks. So, is laid for your faith in his excellent word. Just make sure you break it so that the syllables kind of match. Or where the phrases seem to fit the best. Alright, so we'll say OK and save. Now we might find a different problem. Now we don't have even verses. So we're going to go back and edit it again. And so you can set an optional split. How many lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That one's easy. 1, 2, 3, 4. Split. Okay, save. The better you can make people kind of feel the poetry, the better it's going to work for them. See, this gives a lot of space. It's very attractive. The words and phrases seem to make sense. It's like reading poetry. I mean, you are reading poetry. Okay, we've made it through. Yay! Again, same kind of thing for it as well. Again, optional split. And we're going to give a little space here. I don't like that break, but there's nothing we can do about it. Again, there's not a good break all the time. Okay, let's see how it's going to look. Honestly, that looks terrible. Let's fix the chorus. Those are super short lines, but I think it's going to look better and people will understand it better. Six and two? That doesn't sound right. Oh, it's because I didn't put any optional splits in. My fault. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, split. Split. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Okay, so save our work. Now we'll drag over our new slide, the one that says hymn offertory. Oh, or sure, we'll do it that way. Okay, and what is our offertory this month? Or this week? The church's one foundation. Okay. Let's see if we have it. Hey. Okay. Now, we only do 2 verses for the offertory. So let's take a look. The thing is, a good, well-written hymn typically tends to develop a theme, and so you cut verses at your peril. So what we're going to do is just say V1, V2. Add. It's probably going to look terrible because they're long verses. Yeah, so we're going to need to add optional splits. Edit all. Okay. And usually after you make an edit, it immediately goes to the live view. Something's not right. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you pretty much got how to do it. The sermon header we don't usually change. It just says message from the Word. Maybe eventually we'll get to where that's where we put like what scripture or what theme the pastor will be developing. But you can see we still have two hymns to add. Starting in October, we'll add 3 hymns before the offertory and 2 hymns after, instead of 2 and 2. Now, here's an important thing. Because we added the church as one foundation, it's not really a big deal since no one's going to be singing it. It's the offertory. But here's an important thing. Whenever people are going to be singing it, something that every hymnal does is it picks and chooses which verses and which translations of verses it will use in its hymnal. And so it's important to know, are the verses I have for the lyrics, do they match the hymnal we will be using? And if it doesn't, that's going to be a problem. Alright, Celebration Hymnal 401. Actually, here, watch this. So it shows you just kind of the default text, I guess, but it has this cool feature where it says, alright, where is it at? Compare texts. So choose to compare against. We're going to do the Celebration Hymnal. And we want to compare that against, well, I don't know. What text do you have here, Smarty Pants? Let's see. Oh, that did change. So that has 5 verses. This has 4 verses. Okay, so let's just drag this over here and take a look. Foundation, Lord, new creation, water in the Word, heaven. Aha, so do you see the issue? So this one, verse 3, is though with scornful wonder, whereas their verse 3 for celebration is mid toil and tribulation. Okay, so what we're going to do, you know what, just to make it easy, I hate to do that, but there we go, done and done. And so, hey, guess what? Okay. So now we have one that matches 4 verses, and it's the ones we want. Whoops, that's a problem. There we go. Okay, now later when we use this, we'll need to re-edit it. Okay, so we have our offertory, our first 2 hymns. Okay, and then if we wanted to change the overall theme, we just go up here and that changes the theme for the whole thing, except for ones where we've set a custom slide. Man, that font is the worst. But it might be readable. here's where, for this, we're going to right click, change item theme, and change it to Parchment Dark Georgia Scripture. So then when we double click it, it'll be italicized. And we'll save our work. Okay, well I think I'll finish the rest of these two on my own. I don't think that you'll need to watch me build literally every single element, but you've seen kind of how we put it together. And when we save it, it saves through Dropbox. So I'm sure you may have other questions, and that's totally cool. If so, just give me